Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. What a show we have for you, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ken Cara. So often we focus on our amazing local athletes on Out of Left Field, and don't worry, we're going to do that in the second segment, but our first and third segments are all about two coaches that have had a ton of success in our area. They not only won championships, but they also molded great men and women off the field and course. First up is a story on Tom Kostic. Currently, he's the head cross-country coach at Marian Catholic High School, and that's really all I want to give away right now. Here's the story. One day, Tom Kostic told his religion class at Bishop Hayfie High School that he came up with the idea for bottled water. Kostic was a runner and coach of the school's highly successful cross-country team, so I guess it's possible he thought of the idea of bottled water before it was so popular and widely available. One of his former runners at Bishop Hayfie, Megan Natali, never heard this story, but when asked about it, she just smiled and said it does sound like him. You see, Caustic is filled with stories. Some of them are funny.
He was sitting with us, we were just talking, and there was like a basketball district championship banner, and he just starts talking, and he went through he told a funny story about every single name that was up on that banner. And like I said, I mean, that's just the way he was, just completely selfless. It was always about somebody else.
Some of his stories are inspirational.
He got us pumped up, but I would say not in the typical coach way that you would imagine. I remember during like really hard practices, we'd be doing speed workouts, and in between reps, he would just give you a life lesson, or you'd be catching your breath, and he'd be talking about something about life or a lesson, and then all of a sudden he would just abruptly end the story and say, "Oh, you're on to the next lap," and then you would have no time to think about it, and you would just have to do your next rep.
The stories are often mixed with wise sayings.
Like, there's a time and place for everything. The closer you get to a goal, the harder it is. And this is what I was talking about with the life lessons. So, he used the sport to teach us about life and, the right way to go about things and the wrong way to go about things.
I guess the main thing is, if you want to achieve something, it might not be the easiest path to get there. But if you take that road less traveled, you'll get there.
Okay, we could walk on this road less traveled, or more fittingly, we could run, but you know what? I know the perfect mode of transportation for this trip.
My favorite memories are probably him driving the bus. Yeah, the Blue Beast. He must have had his CDL license, I guess, but he would drive this gigantic school bus. It was painted blue on the side. Everybody knew, when we were coming to meets for that reason. But he would, a lot of times he wouldn't have any help. It would, he would have the entire team in the back of the bus, and then it's just him just driving.
It's been a while since Tom Kostic has been on this road. The last time he was a head cross-country coach, he was turning Bishop Hayfie into a powerhouse from the mid-90s into the late 2000s. The Bishop Hayfie boys cross-country team won 12 consecutive Wyoming Valley Conference Division III championships and a state AA title in 1999. Hayfie closed in 2007, and Caustic is now the vice principal at Holy Family Academy in Hazleton, and before the 2016 season, he was hired as head cross-country coach at Marian Catholic High School in hometown.
I really wasn't thinking about it, but when the position opened and they asked me to consider, I did. And I was fortunate to be the one they picked. And yeah, it's kind of like getting excited, starting all over again. But that's okay. I like that scenario, starting all over again. So I think the same philosophy applies. Hard work, dedication, commitment. Those things don't change. How you apply them, and different generation of kids, students this year. I mean, to this point, it's different. You have to change tactics. Certainly, how I was coached and how I can coach now are totally different. So, I mean, you learn to adjust to your audience and coach your audience using the same tactics.
How have kids changed?
It's just I think their culture's changed. I don't think students are playing as many sports. I think participation in sports is down, so getting people enthusiastic and is part of the big change. I mean, years ago it was just an automatic thing. Now you really have to go out and promote.
If there's anyone who can get kids to come out for the team, it's Caustic. Both Natalie and Kevin Walsh, who was on Hafey's 1999 AA state championship team, never wanted to miss a practice, a meet, or even a summer conditioning.
There was definitely something different going on, and that's, I think, all because of Mr. Caustic and the community that he created in the cross-country team there.
What was their secret? Was it strategy?
I mean, he absolutely did his homework. I can remember leading up to states, he would have the previous year's results, and each team had a separate highlighter, and he knew exactly who was coming back and who wasn't, and what our chances were. You know, if where people ran. He was constantly doing his homework. But aside from that, I mean, it was absolutely the way he coached, because there was never any pressure. I never felt any kind of pressure that we had to win, had to race, even had to race well. We wanted to, and I think mostly we wanted to win for him, because we liked him and respected him so much.
Was it a strong sense of team?
I think Mr. Caustic he treated everyone on that team the same, whether you were in the top 7 or whether you were, a little slower, and he celebrated everybody's achievements. So every race, if you were, maybe like the last run on the team, but you had your best time, he made sure to, say that in front of everybody on the bus, and everybody was supportive of each other, and we all got excited for each other, and that's what made me really enjoy it. Because everyone thinks that running is a personal sport, but I thought that on Mr. Caustic's team it was definitely a team sport and a team atmosphere, and that's what I really enjoyed.
Was it this?
One of the concerns was we had Chuck D'Onofrio and Steve Sanko, who were extremely fast, but in order to win as a team, you needed to keep everybody together for as long as possible in the race. So Mr. Caustic devised this system, and he invented it himself, where it was belts that everyone would wear, and then a breakaway system of connections between the belts. I think he made them himself. I don't know if he sewed them himself, but he had, pieces of fabric and Velcro and, breakaway clips or something like that. To his credit, it worked. It worked. Everybody definitely ran a lot closer in the races, I think, because of that.
The secret was probably a lot of things, including what Caustic and his athletes called the spirit of the monk.
I think that started with me and my background as a Franciscan, and then it carried over, and the kids picked up on it, and we got our symbol together, and we picked up on it, and it was just like our meditation before a meet. We would sit in chapel and things like that. So I think it all just unfolded the way it did. A little bit of me, a little bit of them, and then it took off.
Yes, that's actually something that I think was one of my favorite things about being on the team. And before every meet, we would meet in the chapel, and Mr. Caustic would say a few words, and then he would just leave us to sit and say a prayer, meditate about, the meet that was coming up. And I enjoyed doing that so much because it kind of calmed my mind that when I went to Marywood and I ran the cross-country team there, I would actually go to their chapel before I would go to the meets, because I liked continuing that tradition. It always kind of stuck with me to have a little bit of quiet time before the big race.
I really wanted to end this story here, but there's just one more story to share. One more story about Tom Kostic, teacher, monk, coach, bus driver, and almost FBI agent.
I remember him telling me it was always his dream to go into the FBI, become an FBI agent. So he'd applied for the program, and while his application was pending, somebody said, "Hey, there's an opening over at I think it was Bishop Hafey at the time. Why don't you apply over there and check it out?" And he said, "All right, maybe I'll apply." So he did, and I think it came down to the point where he got accepted into the FBI program, and he got accepted for the job at Hafey, and he felt that his calling was to become a teacher and accept the position at the school, and that's what he did. And you know, thank God he did, because he's had such a profound impact on all of our lives. And again, for, you know, thousands of kids that have come through.
Coming up next on Out of Left Field, laugh at me golfing while learning all about the 2016 MMI Prep golf team. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. Welcome back, everyone. Golf is mostly known as a quiet sport. Well, I went to MMI preparatory school practice and didn't shut up, and I'm glad because I learned a lot about the athletes. MMI went 10-2 during the regular season, so you know they are great golfers, and they have some great stories to share. All right, man, so I'm starting off with 5-iron here. What's your favorite club and why?
My favorite club is probably a driver, because I've always seemed to been able to control that club the most.
Have you noticed how much dirt I've been kicking up over here?
I do now.
Nice little divot here. What's been your best moment on the golf course? What's like a career highlight? What do you look back on and kind of pat yourself on the back for? Is there a moment or a round?
The round at Valley Country Club a couple weeks ago, when the round didn't start off too well, but I was able to work into my game during the round and shoot a 39.
How do you stay focused? I'd want to be like, I'd be talking about something else, Monday Night Football or that, but is there time for friendly conversation as you're out there on the course?
Yeah, that's actually a joke between me and my buddy Eric. We kind of, you know, keep not our nerves, but we stay relaxed. We talk about really a lot besides golf. I mean, the whole round, me and him are chit-chatting.
What's a popular topic you guys are usually hitting on? Now you could tell me on camera maybe.
You know, we talk about school a lot. We talk about, you know, what we're gonna do on the weekend, me and him, because we're friends. So, you know, just the basic stuff that you talk about in high school.
How'd you guys become friends? Was it through golf or did you guys know each other?
Yeah, I came to MMI in 9th grade, and last year me and Eric both went to districts together.
Okay.
So we rode out together and we really became good friends through that.
Okay, so I've been playing since 5 years old.
Okay.
Because my dad loves the sport. He used to go out with his dad every single time. And he's not great at it, but he still just loves the sport, so he brought me out when I was 5. And he did that old dad thing where he's like, oh, you're doing really great, but really I'm doing awful.
Is that just how your dad kind of is? He would, you know, support you no matter what?
He's encouraging, not usually no matter what, but he gets encouraging sometimes.
So you golfed in Alaska?
Golfed in Alaska.
What was that like?
Golfed in Virginia. It's a lot different. Obviously the ground's a lot more like tundra, so hitting a golf ball's different.
I like how you went from I golfed in Alaska, I golfed in Virginia.
Yeah,
what's golfing in
because it's
Virginia like? I
huge.
mean, another Commonwealth or?
Golfing in Virginia, because it's a big thing out there, they like really invest into it.
Really?
So that's where I shot my best score of my life. No one here believes me.
Okay.
But I shot about like a 33 in a course there.
Do you have a witness? Like, was your family there?
I have my dad as a witness,
Okay.
but then again, he says I do amazing.
All right, Jessica, so I have noticed you are the only girl over here with these guys. What is that aspect of it like for you? Because I heard do you golf a lot with them or?
Yeah, we do. It's really fun because I'm not intimidated by them. So it's just good competition.
Are they intimidated by you?
Maybe.
How long have you been golfing? Give me your background a little bit.
I've been golfing since I was about 5, and I really like competitive golf now.
So when you say competitive golf, what are you doing for it? Just like fun with family, or who'd you get started
No.
with? Was it a family member? Was it a friend?
It was my uncle and my dad who started me, and now I like to play on the junior tours and things like that.
Let's continue talking about being competitive. You keep saying competitive, you like all these tournaments. I mean, were you always like that? Like just board
Yeah.
games, anything?
Yeah, basically I always wanted to beat everybody else.
Do you still compete? Like, do you go out with your uncle and your dad anymore? Can you beat them now?
I go with my dad and I beat him pretty much all the time.
Is he cool with it?
Yeah.
What's a lesson you took from your dad though when you were little? Is there like something he taught you still remember?
He always teaches me to just get out of trouble and not do anything really stupid.
In golf or in life or in both?
Pretty much both.
What's something stupid you would do on a golf course? What's something you remember doing stupid? Like just something, a bonehead play or bonehead stroke?
Just the other day, I was behind a couple trees and I thought I can go over the trees instead of going around them,
Okay.
and I completely missed.
I'm a fan of reading books, a type of book, and it just became interesting after I read a book about golf. So I wanted to try out for the team because of that.
What was it like when you started playing compared to just reading about it? Was it much different? Was it kind of what you expected?
It was it was the same because I did feel a lot of trouble when I was hitting the ball because it wasn't going as far as I was expecting, or as straight. So
how'd you correct it? I mean, was it coaching? Was it just through trial and error? Was it some of the other guys, girls on the team?
I just self-taught myself through the 4 years. I never took a coach. I never got a coach on golf.
Check this out. Before you take your next swing, watch me. And then I want you to you don't have to break down everything, but I'm sure you're gonna look at my mechanics and be like, I'm gonna give this kid the book. Oh yeah, see that? So what'd you see just in looking at me one time?
I say you kind of lifted your head when you were hitting, and you put yourself downward at the thing. You were striking too much down at the ground instead of at the ball.
So come up a little bit and keep my head down the whole way through.
Yeah, to keep your head down all the way through.
All right. You watch golf?
I do watch golf.
How great would it be if they interviewed the golfers while they were swinging on the golf course for 1 week?
Be probably really awesome to see, but it would be a major distraction.
Who do you think would be one golfer who'd be really cool to do that with?
Definitely Jordan Spieth.
Who do you think would be really irritated by it and maybe punch the camera guy or just, just not be all about it?
Probably Phil Mickelson.
Who's someone you kind of look to and you appreciate their game and you think like, all right, I could take some notes from this guy or girl?
For sure, my favorite golfer is Ricky Fowler.
Okay.
I'm kind of a style guy. I like to look good when I play golf.
All right.
And he always looks fresh when he plays, so Ricky's mainly my guy, and he's a great golfer as well. So.
Man, how much truth do you think is that? Because I got a haircut before the news today, and I didn't mess up once. So you think there's really something to this?
Yeah. Looking fresh is the main thing to me, as long as you look good.
I don't know if you've seen me swing from over there. Where do you think I would be on MMI's team? Would I be like, here, you could even look, like where would I be? Would I be like still sitting on the bus and mascot or? Maybe?
Yeah.
You guys have some good golfers, right?
Yeah, you could be a pretty good mascot, I think.
Could be a prepper. Up next, a look back at Rocco Petrone's amazing career as Hazleton Area High School football coach and one of the school's biggest victories of all time. Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together. Hello again, and once again, thank you for watching Out of Left Field. Did you ever wonder what coaches and athletes remember years later about big wins? Was there some detail they can recall that we didn't see as fans? Here's a story about a big win and a man who continues to have a big impact on young men and women in the Hazleton area. How will people remember us? Hazleton Area High School Principal Rocco Petrone gives us an interesting insight into this question while talking about the responsibility of teachers.
Kids will remember something you say to them many, many years later. And you may not even realize what you've said, but it's an impact in their lives. So hopefully, as a teacher, you're impacting them more positively than anything else. You think about it. You can think about a time when you were in school, a teacher said something to you that maybe made you feel bad. And you can think about sometimes when a teacher says something to you that made you feel good. And what's more important to you? And you're always going to go back to that teacher that made you feel good, maybe for a reference, maybe just to talk with them, maybe because they inspired you. There's nothing more important than teaching.
One thing most Hazleton Area High School students will remember about their principal is his signature saying, "I like you." You'll often hear him say it in speeches to groups of students, and you'll see the phrase all over the high school building, on t-shirts, and even as you're leaving the parking lot near the Hazleton Area Career Center.
I think I wanted to come up with something that shows these students that someone is always on their side, no matter what the situation is. Whether we're giving you accolades, whether we're coming down on you to improve on something in your life, we're always on your side, and you always have someone here that you can count on. There's no question you can count on their teachers, my assistant principals, but I want them to know that my role is always someone that they can count on, they can turn to, and I want to let them know, yeah, there's no question I like you. There might be times when you think, oh, he's really tough on us, but it always comes down to the fact that I care so much about you. Your future is so important to me. There's no doubt you can be successful. And once you step into Hazen Area High School, there's always someone on your side.
That may be Petrone's lasting legacy for many students, but a lot of people know him as the Cougars' former head football coach. It's a position the former Hazleton High School football player and teacher in the district took a lot of pride in.
I worked in a lot of different capacities in the district, as a teacher, as an administrator, and one of the toughest jobs is being head football coach. It honestly is. Winning week after week and putting all the time in, it's a big effort, and you have to have family that supports you to do that. So I think what I have learned is that I'm more and more appreciative of what we did accomplish, and what I do appreciate today, even more so, is the relationship I still have with a lot of our students that did play for us, and a great relationship with the assistant coaches.
Memory is a funny thing because we can all experience a certain situation differently. Look at this photo. Local football fans will remember this moment as the time Hazleton Area High School beat Bethlehem Liberty in the playoffs. It was quite the feat for a school from District 2 to travel deep into District 11 and knock off a perennial power. It ended up being one of the greatest seasons in Hazleton area history. It was Petrone's 8th season as head coach.
I think that you have to go back 2 years prior to that, in 05, because that game happened in 07. And in 2005, we played Liberty at home in a playoff game, District 2 versus District 11, and they put it to us pretty good. And as assistant staff and myself, we got together and said, well, what do we have to do to become that good? You know, we took ourselves to another level within the District 2 and the Wayne Valley Conference. Okay, now what do we do to get to that state level? And we worked hard at that. We watched a lot of film, we beefed up our schedule, beefed up our preseason schedule, and just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Petrone credits his coaching staff with getting the players to buy into his system of always believing in themselves, learning to come from behind, and learning to win on the road. On this night, the Cougars did all three of those things.
It's a signature game, but it doesn't define us because we were not a successful season. We were a successful program, and that's what I'm most proud about our kids. So my son's senior year was the last year I coached because I became principal of this building. But his distinction with his class of 2010 is they left football back to back District 2 champions, District 2 Quad A champions. There's not too many people that can say that about any sport. That's what I mean by successful program, not necessarily successful season.
That win at Liberty definitely added to the Cougars' legacy, and it made sure that teams outside of District 2 knew all about Hazleton area's program. Did it feel good putting Hazleton there? I remember before the Liberty game, they spelled Hazleton wrong on the scoreboard, and I shot a ton of video of it. And then I remember thinking after, well, they won't forget, from now on. Did it feel good? And then, I mean, when Hazleton does get up there?
Oh, sure. It felt great. And I cheer for them so much right now to get back to that. And when you become principal, you have such a different perspective, because I have a great deal of respect for so many other students in this building that do so many other things other than play the athletics. Band, for instance, I took them for granted. The band set the tone, the cheerleaders set the tone. I'm thinking, okay, they're here for the team. Well, that's not really true. We're all there for each other. So I have a great deal of respect and a whole different perspective as a principal. So yes, it feels really good when we're there. I remember that when we were on that field and somebody came up to me on Liberty Field before the game. We were stretching. He said, is there anything I can do for you? I said, I'd like you to spell her name right. And I think they did change it then as the game went on.
Petrone and his staff didn't lose a lot of games, but when they did taste defeat, Petrone admits it was a bitter pill to swallow.
I used to feel bad when we lost games. I felt bad for the kids. I felt bad for myself. Staff, not for myself, for the kids, the staff, but I felt bad for the fans. They all came out, the parents came out, they were so supportive. I used to feel so bad if we lost that game because I felt like I let them down. And you kind of get over that, but that's a tough feeling to have because you have thousands of people that came out and you see their long face, they're sad that you lost, and you don't want to let anybody down.
Here's what Petrone takes away from his 10 seasons as head football coach.
I learned that this is an area that has a lot of pride in their school, a lot of pride in their children, a lot of pride in their students. And when you are doing well and you are successful, no matter what the sport is, people are going to come and support you. And people may not know what I do for a living today, being principal, but they still remember when I was coach. And it just goes a long way that the town really is proud of their local student athletes. And that's what I learned, that it meant a great deal to them, because we had big crowds at our games, and they were very supportive.
Let's take one more look at this photo. For many, it captures the greatest night of their high school athletic careers. For others, it may have been their best night as a fan. For the man in the center of the photo, it's a great moment between him and his daughter Dominique, who was a manager for the team. Petrone stressed during his interview just how supportive his family was when he was the Cougars' head football coach. One moment, so many memories, and this is just one snapshot from 10 seasons as head coach. All right, I feel like it's been a good effort. I'm ready to take a knee and start working on the next episode of Out of Left Field. Until then, watch some game film at ssptv.com. And when I say game film, I mean past episodes of Out of Left Field. Take it easy, everyone.